Hi, Bright Lights. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Tina, and I wanted to come on and do a quick short video to talk about how we destroy those darn toxic energy vampires. Well, maybe destroy might be a little dramatic, but it is about people who drain our energy. And the people that get their energy drained are the bright lights out there. You know who you are, the light workers, healers, star seeds, basically all of us empaths, ones who have the great capacity for empathy, love, support, and healing. We are the ones who can easily feel others' energies and emotions. And let's talk about that. Why is that? Why do we feel all of these people's emotions? Well, part of it is because most of us as kids were trained to feel out the emotions of others because we grew up in very chaotic environments like I did. If you had narcissistic parents, you were forced to take responsibility for their emotions, punished for making them angry, etc. So we had to be on very high alert in order to feel safe. You probably spent a lot of your time tuning into everyone else's energy, trying to get them to relax so you could relax. I call it people pleasing, but it is a survival mechanism. And it's also, unfortunately, it also encoded the belief inside of us that we are here to serve other people's needs. A good question to ask yourself is what part of you learned to accept other people's toxic behavior? These are the karmic knots that we want to identify and untangle. The other side of the empathetic coin are the energy vampires. These are the ones who feel entitled. They think others are here to serve their needs and they are totally self-focused. These people I always call narcissists. Now, I'm not diagnosing anyone. I refer to them as narcissists because they are people who are out of balance. They use others to get their needs met. Empaths can be just as out of balance on the other side of that coin, serving others with no sense of self, focusing on others with no boundaries versus that self-focused part of the coin of the narcissist. The empaths can martyr themselves to others completely neglecting their own needs, setting themselves on fire to warm others. I think I've mentioned that before. Another way to look at it is empaths have an inner ego and the narcissist has an outer ego. The lesson is to teach the empath boundaries, respect, and love of the self. And the lesson of the narcissist is to learn to share of others, to share themselves with others, I should say, to love unconditionally and to let go of control. And we can all move back and forth at times on the spectrum. Even empaths can sometimes be selfish, and narcissists can sometimes share of themselves. It's when it gets to be extreme and very often on either side that it gets to be a disorder. So, how do you know who is an energy vampire? Here are several ways I figured out how they show up for me. So this is from my experience. Please, share your own experiences with me as well. Maybe they show up differently for you. But the first thing that was a trigger for me is if when somebody would call me and I would immediately be irritated or I'd be like, "Oh gosh, do I have to take this call?" And for me, this happened with an ex that was wanting to remain friends, right? Even though it was I had to walk away from this toxic relationship and, for many reasons, mainly because of the lying and cheating that was going on. But they still wanted to, they still wanted to be my friend. But they would call me up, to talk about all of what was going on in their life. And basically, again, try to keep their hooks in you. Narcissists like to keep their hooks in a lot of different people, even exes and stuff, because they're always looking to get energy from all of these different sources. And so I finally had to realize what was happening. And so that was one way, if I would have just really pay attention to how I was feeling about them. Another is it might be somebody that you like, but you can't seem to get away from the conversation. Usually they drag on and on. And when you do get away from it, you feel very exhausted and drained. And this can be somebody who's got a lot of drama going on in their life all the time, though, because people do go, um, people do have, things happen. My brother got divorced and he would call me up to, get support, and I wanted to be there for him. But if it gets to be this where they're in their victim mentality and it's just poor me, and I always encourage him to do different things, to try to plant the seeds, because that's what, we're here to do is to help others, but to stay in our own frame, to help others and support others, but be careful about not being taken advantage of. Now, I did have somebody at work that I did not know very well at all, but she would always tell me all these very negative personal things going on in her life. And that is very draining and was not acceptable. I did catch on to that pretty quickly. And they can also be, other people can be very confrontational or aggressive in their behavior. And whether it may not even be about you, it might be about another person. And you would feel very anxious after dealing with these people, very discombobulated, because again, they're looking for your support. They're looking for you to balance out their anxiousness and their energy. And watch out as well. I would fall into this trap. This happened to me a lot at work, where, people are trying to validate, negative things going on at work. And so and this would happen even with somebody very close to my family, because I have a karmic five, and karmic fives can get very negative in their expression if they're not being mindful. And I just remember I got along very well with this family member, but we would always get into conversations about negative things about work. And it draws you into the sense of powerlessness. And there would be times too where people would draw me in at work with gossiping, and that would make me feel very icky, because I'm always one, I really want to like everybody and I want to maintain high integrity with everyone. And so when you get into these conversations where they're talking down about somebody, especially if it's like a group thing, and walking away that they're going to be talking about you next, it's really starting to learn some tricks about not getting sucked into these, because it's very easy. I myself, it happens to me time to time, and I don't care how enlightened you get, you will always have these situations that you will, try to get pulled into. And I did also have a boss that was very much what I called a crazy maker. And I would have these really weird conversations. And one time she was my boss at the time, and she would call me into her office, and she wanted to let me know that somebody had complained because I was too bubbly at work and I needed to dial it back a notch. And I was like, well, I don't plan on changing my personality to fit somebody else's, to make them feel better. But she kept on with like, oh, well, but you must have said something to cause her to, reach out to me to complain. And I basically told this boss, I said, you know what? You can stand on your head all day long and think you're going to change everybody to fit everyone else's expectations, but good luck with that, because I don't do that anymore. And so in that particular case, I set my boundary out very quickly with her, letting her know that I wasn't going to, because again, they're always trying to make you feel like you are the problem. And I didn't feel that that was a fair representation. So again, these weird bosses conversations, just be very mindful, because all these things are red flags. And they're things for you to identify. I ended up staying at this job probably a little longer than I should have, because of not I was recognizing the red flags, but I still did not leave. And I ended up in a very bad burnout situation from a lot of the toxicity. So, again, we can be very self aware and be doing a lot of these practices, but it's still, you don't want to subject yourself to this every day when you are working on yourself, because you're doing so much inner work trying to get to a peaceful level. And then you're going somewhere where you're always being challenged. That isn't good for the self. No matter how spiritual you get, you need to be around people who support you, not you always supporting everyone else. So it's just a learning experience, finding the right job or the right fit for you. But also, even going to Walmart or shopping can take a toll. So be aware of how you are feeling and limit your time in these places. So I have a lot of family who like to come and visit me because I live close to the Mall of America. But I always tell them, I'm more than happy to take you over to the Mall of America, but I can only shop for several hours. If you guys want to go longer, I'll probably just go to a restaurant or find somewhere quiet and read my book. So I just let them know ahead of time. And so that's kind of me getting ahead of how to destroy these energy vampires. And that's starting to put these boundaries out, starting to do more pre-planning. Because I think as empaths, we get very much in the moment, and it takes a while for us to start to be more mindful and doing some pre-planning, especially with people that we can't eliminate in our life. So the first thing I do want to talk about, destroying these energy vampires, you have to continue to reevaluate all of your relationships with intimate partners, friends, family. You need to specifically focus on how your, not just it, not everything is about benefiting us either, but how it affects you, how much you're giving. Are these balanced relationships? Are these people that are supporting you? If you're supporting them, very, very critical to reevaluate. And the ones that you can eliminate, the ones you can walk away, block, block, block. I did block that ex, and I have blocked others as well, friends and people that were not serving my best interest. And when you do this, when you are ready to move forward and you're ready to end these relationships once and for all, block, block, block. Because I had a friend of mine who was married, very happily married, but she would still get a phone call from time to time from this ex. And I asked her, why would you accept a phone call from this person? Because they're tapping into your energy. You were happily married. You don't need to have a relationship with this person. This isn't family. This isn't. I said, my recommendation to her was to block him, because it still causes it. People get into your energy and into your field, and we have limited energy to give. And it's very important for us to understand that, how important our inner circle is, and not be letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry just have their hooks in us. I don't know if that was a good way to put that, but um, and so another thing, is having a plan for changing the subject when things go. Take a chance. My dog is going crazy at the moment, so maybe there's a narcissist out there. Zoe, come here. So, sorry, she usually is very quiet, but I'm guessing the neighbor's dog probably came out, so I think she's doing okay. I don't know if you could hear that or not. Anyway, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about is having a plan for changing the subject when things go negative. Have an excuse maybe to opt out of the conversation early. I had this gentleman at work who would come in. I didn't know him very well, but he always wanted to come in and just talk about himself. And so I just got to the point of telling him I could only, oh, hi, Joe, I can only talk for 15 minutes today. I have an appointment, or I have to get ready for this. And so I always had a plan to limit my interaction with him. And so then there's another thing that, it's not so easy if you need to maintain a connection with somebody such as an ex, that you have a child with, which I was a single mom and I had a very narcissistic spouse. So that was a challenge for me, and it taught me a lot about boundaries and about self-worth and not feeding into nonsense, and really coming to the place in myself where I didn't really care anymore what this person thought about me or anyone else. It really gave me a lot of growth, and it could be a parent or a sibling too, but you really need to plan out your interactions with these people. And, the gray rock method is a very common one you probably have heard about. And I recommend that, being very robotic in your approach as well. This I don't care attitude is the best. Limit conversations, never give details ever with these people, with family that are like that. Parents, you always keep things very superficial, and you ask questions too. Kind of like with that boss, when she was talking about, me having to change my personality, and I would be like, well, what did this person say that I did wrong? And trying to get to the facts instead of this, well, they're just complaining about you, so you need to change kind of attitude. So when you start to ask these mundane questions, it starts to take out the drama they're trying to create. And if they, poke you, you might need an assertiveness course. You might need to do some role playing. There's a lot of videos on YouTube with role playing too, which is very helpful. When you start role playing some of it, you really do start to reprogram your subconscious as to how you react to them, because they're trying to set off these patterns that are already ingrained in you from your other relationships. And again, that's all by design for them to feed you. And these type of narcissists are usually trying to always make you look bad, make you look small so they feel superior. There's a sense of entitlement. They want to make you appear as the crazy one because it's all about blaming and them being the victim. So they need to make sure that you are the perpetrator, those types of things. And you guys know what I'm talking about, because you can't get away from them. They're everywhere. And starting to focus on being present, getting out of your head, making sure you can feel your feet in your hands, checking in with the presence in your body, because the more present you are, the more self-contained you are, the more people cannot attach to your energy. Presence is quite a way to do that. Repeat this mantra: I am not responsible for the energy and emotions of others. I am not responsible for the energy and emotion of others. Do a clearing as soon as you can after being exposed. I will attach just a really short one from Steve Nobel, because with a lot of um, people bringing down the white light and all of that, there's a little bit of for me, what works better is to do like a clearing and a cleansing and then doing the protective energy. And this is a good one that clear and cleanses and aligns you back to your energy. There's some meditations that are structured for you being able to stay in your frame. Most empaths are attracted to narcissists because narcissists they are so solid in their frame. They don't let other people take their energy from them. And we like that, at a very subconscious level, that's attractive to us. And that's why we kind of get brought together. It's one of the many reasons. But being inside and learning how to be inside your own frame, candle gazing. Um, there's a practice where you send out your energy and you bring it back in so you can start playing with how that feels. And that's, taking the time to implement change, doing that inner work, which in return creates inner strength and brings you back into alignment with your sense of self. And that's where you want to be, is you want to be centered in self, centered in yourself, not self-centered. So that's really the goal of this. It's not about chasing everyone out of your life and isolating yourself from the world. All of this is just about being stronger, learning that self-love, and teaching from the other aspect. So don't enable the narcissist to always steal your energy. Make them learn how to share of themselves with others. That's teaching them. So you don't, it's again, it's about lessons for everybody. It's not just about us. We're all connected. And finally, all I just want to say is please be kind to yourself. You are doing just fine. There's nothing wrong with you. These are all just things for self-improvement, becoming more aware on your awakening journey. And we can be very hard on ourselves. So it's not about perfection. Nobody's perfect. We can all jump around and oscillate between these energies. So no one's perfect and no one's, all a narcissist or all an empath. But it's really about reevaluating those relationships to understand where the ones that you really need to focus on, that you really need to make those changes with. And you'll see huge results in your outer world as you continue to work on it. And that's all we're here for, is to just do our work as best we can. So thank you for being here. I hope this helped you. And I will see you in the next video.